It looked like a wholesome family sitcom, but behind the scenes it was chaos. Cast fights, secret firings, and one scandal that nearly got the show canceled. This is the dark truth behind Family Matters, and it'll change how you see the show forever.
Hi, Carl.
Don't you think you want to start calling me Mr. Winslow?
Yeah, that's what my parents Herb and Diane tell me.
It became one of the biggest highlights on television during its run, but while the Winslows seemed like a cheerful, tight-knit family on screen, behind the scenes, the drama was anything but scripted. There were growing tensions between cast members, show writers, and directors, and at one point, the conflict nearly tore the show apart completely. Rumors, rivalries, and hidden controversies were swept under the rug, until now. Family Matters was a spin-off of the original series Perfect Strangers, with the studio trying to emulate a predominantly black cast and a family-oriented show that was starting to become a big hit in the 80s. The series' storyline originally evolved around the Winslow family, a middle-class family in Chicago. The family's father, Carl Winslow, is portrayed as a cop, and his wife, Harriet Winslow, is his beloved. The show initially focused on the Winslow family and their 3 children, Eddie, Laura, and their youngest, Judy, until Steve, the ultra-nerd, was introduced midway through the first season, which was where the tension reportedly started.
Hi, Carl. Hi. How you doing, big guy?
Nurse, are there any other rooms available?
I'm afraid not.
Jaleel White, who played Steve Urkel, was originally scripted to appear as a one-time character and didn't even get introduced to the audience until the first season was halfway in. But surprisingly, Urkel ended up becoming the most valuable and popular character of the show. Steve Urkel was just a quirky nerd who lived next door and had an over-the-top crush on Laura Winslow and never stopped bugging her. Unexpectedly, Steve became a big hit with the audiences, with lots of fans finding his weirdly hilarious portrayal intriguing, which prompted ABC's execs to develop such a sudden likeness for Steve that they decided to make every other episode of the show evolve around his character, which in turn meant that the direction of the series would change drastically.
Carl, you're not eating.
I got shot in the butt, not in the head.
All of a sudden, Steve was the center of attention of the show, and the new shift in the direction of the series caused some tension among the cast members. Steve Urkel's newfound special treatment by the show executives and rise to prominence got in his head, and he started misbehaving on set, according to Jo Marie Payton, who played Harriet Winslow on the show. Speaking with Entertainment Weekly, she revealed an incident where Jaleel White tried to fight her physically on set. Do y'all remember that scene where Harriet scolded Steve in one of the episodes of the show?
You better check that attitude at the door.
Well, it seemed their relationship off-screen wasn't rosy as well. Peyton recalled the incident that happened in an episode titled Original Gangsta Dog, and just because she pointed out that they couldn't do a particular scene because it wouldn't pass the standard practices and guidelines of TV at the time, White got so mad, kicking and screaming. Peyton revealed she would have given him some ass whooping right then and there if not for Darius McCrary, who grabbed her and calmed her down, making her recognize that White was just a kid at the time.
Working with him was a challenge. There were some moments when he was a little difficult, but overall, I have nothing but good memories for him.
It's important to recall that the whole premise of Family Matters initially evolved around the Winslow family, an arrangement that didn't last more than a season before it became the Steve Urkel Show until the end of the 9th season in 1998. Understandably, the cast wouldn't take the sudden change of script well, especially with producers Bill Bickley and Michael Warren not caring whose feelings got hurt. They loved the attention the Steve Urkel character was getting, and they immediately shifted the whole story to focus on him. Steve went from a one-time character appearance to making everyone else props and supporting cast around Steve Urkel. Jaleel White admitted that the situation got a bit dicey after the change in the focus of the show, and it changed his relationship with other cast members. In an interview with Vanity Fair in 2012, White said, Things were definitely strained in the early going. There's no sense in hiding that. There was a division between myself and the rest of the cast, but over 9 years and 215 episodes. Obviously, relationships get better. In all honesty, there's no hiding the fact that Steve Urkel was the one who kept Family Matters going for 9 years.
Everything about the kid.
He was a weird black guy.
Yeah, everything about him was white and weird.
Yes.
So it made him as a character easy to write for the writers. They were excited now. Like, they were hyped now. They were like, finally,
blurs didn't exist in the mainstream. There was no
finally
representation.
We got something we can write for.
Right.
And then just, now this is where I will tip my hat a little bit. Just as a credit to myself, I would find a way to inject soul.
He was the showman of the entire series, and it was his magic that translated to the success of the show, which in turn benefited the cast members financially despite their differences. Dividends are trickling into their pockets to this day. Harriet Winslow didn't hang around for the show to finish. She walked away halfway through the 9th season, but it was revealed she would have walked away as early as the 4th season if she wasn't bound by the 8-year contract she signed. Did Jo Marie Payton get tired of her Harriet Winslow character, or is there more to it? Darius had this to say about it.
That was really difficult. Yeah, Jo Marie, who the show was created for, technically. A lot of people don't know this, but it was a spinoff from Perfect Strangers. She left the show just because of differences with the producers. But like I said, who am I to tell these people what they gonna do with their show? You created it for me. She left because of several differences.
It was well known that Payton was upset about the sudden change in direction of the show, which totally contradicted the agreement she had with the show execs. But what got her really upset was the unexplained disappearance of the Judy Winslow character from the show. Payton finally left the show midway through the 9th season after triggering a clause in her contract that allowed her to leave when the first half of the scene was recorded. Instead of the show producers writing her off, they hastily decided to replace her character with a different actress, Judy Ann Elder. Imagine having to adapt to seeing a new mom on your favorite sitcom after 9 whole years with a previous mom you already fell in love with and got used to. Luckily for them, the show ended in that same season. But why did they fire little Judy from the show in that ridiculous manner?
Judy, didn't I ask you to straighten up in here?
Yeah.
Well,
You meant today?
In one episode of the 4th season, Judy went up the stairs, never to be seen again. Family Matters fans will remember Judy, played by Jamie Foxworth, as the last born of the Winslow family. The sudden disappearance of Judy in season 4 surprised many, but at that point, Steve Urkel was the center of attention, so people's concerns quickly faded away, and Judy was never heard or spoken of again. Some fans quickly concluded that Judy got fired to create more airtime for Steve Urkel's character, but according to Foxworth, the show's creative team wrote off Judy because they didn't want her around anymore. In an interview with The Root in 2017, Foxworth revealed that it was indeed because the show executives wanted more space for Urkel to shine that resulted in her contract being terminated. The producers felt that they could do it and no one would notice. They'd done it with previous shows they had. They figured no one would really care. My fans took notice of it. They figured they could just throw me away with no explanation at all. Some of my cast members knew before I did. Foxworth said Judy was written off the show like she never even mattered. She was only 13, and her life was never the same again. She never returned to television after being let go. 6 years later, she reemerged at age 19, trying to break into modeling. But that marked the beginning of her unexpected turn toward an adult film career. She recalled her experience in an interview years later.
Me being just wanting to make some money, wanting to be in the limelight, we went down to the video shoot, and it was a man with a female, and they were, engaging in sex.
Would little Judy, whom everyone loved while growing up, become a porn star if she wasn't fired from the show abruptly? Guess we would never know. She revealed Payton, who was her on-screen mom, fought for her and tried to reason with the show execs to no avail. Another character that got changed in the show, but for a different and very heartbreaking reason, was Steve's girlfriend, Myra Monkhouse, who was played by Michelle Thomas.
Now you scaring me too.
She was intended to be a guest character, but ended up becoming a permanent fixture on the show for 5 seasons, from the 4th season to the last. Unfortunately for Michelle, she was diagnosed with a rare form of stomach cancer while filming the last season of the show and was forced to exit the show shortly before it ended. In her last scenes on the show, her fragility due to the toll the disease had taken on her was quite evident. She eventually passed away in December 1998 at the young age of 30, just before the show got canceled. A few of Family Matters cast members found themselves in serious disputes and legal troubles away from the limelight. In 2014, Darius McCrary, forever known as Eddie Winslow on the show, got engaged to Tammy Bronner of the Harlem Globetrotters. Just 3 years later, the marriage was falling apart reportedly in a life-threatening manner. Bronner filed a restraining order against Darius after alleging multiple counts of physical abuse against her and their infant daughter. She reported that McCrary's excessive use of drugs and alcohol drinking habits made him violent towards her and her child. Darius was ordered to move out of the family home and stay 100 yards from his wife and daughter. His attorney told E! News, "Tammy Bronner is no victim. She's a predator motivated by a desperate desire to extort money out of Mr. McCrary while trying to create an advantage in an impending divorce and custody battle." The divorce was a very public and messy one, splashing a stain on the beloved Eddie Winslow character. He was ordered by a judge to seek help to handle his excessive alcohol and drug abuse and to sign up for parenting classes on how to be a good father. This made it all sadly ironic because McCrary once founded Father's Care, an initiative that seeks to help men become better fathers. Darius McCrary isn't the only Family Matters star to have faced some personal struggles and legal troubles away from the screen. In 2012, Bridget Hardy, who was Jaleel White's ex-girlfriend and mother of his daughter, told Star magazine that White physically and verbally abused her 2 years earlier after she found evidence of infidelity on his phone. She claimed White placed all of her possessions in a storage facility and changed the locks on his house, banishing her from it. White waved away the allegations, claiming Hardy was just trying to get an upper hand in the custody negotiations that were going on at the time.
This was something that spun out of control. That was a dirty tactic by her attorney.
The drama behind Family Matters may have shocked fans, but the show's legacy remains undeniable. It made history. But behind the legacy lies a story most fans were never meant to see. What do you think about the secrets behind Family Matters? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more untold Hollywood stories coming your way.